S.H. Hooke in Babylonian and Assyrian Religion back in 1962, in analyzing the religion of these two great empires, the first two great empires that interacted, whose life and religion intersected the religion of this new nation called Israel. These two nations were dominated, Hooke says, by a religion that itself was characterized by fear. How are the Babylonians and Assyrians able to cope with their fear of demons and the ill will of gods they feel they cannot control? Well, there is a Baru priest who takes the lead in protecting the Babylonian and Assyrian from the worst of the demons and the gods. Hooke says about the Baru priest, it was the special business of the Baru to give the layman information about the shape of the future. The Babylonians and Assyrians believed that the future could be both controlled and predicted. They thought that everything which happened in the universe formed part of an intricate pattern of cause and effect. And the meaning of the pattern could be ascertained by observing the course of events, even the most trivial. A most important part of the Baru's activity consisted in the observation of the movements of the heavenly bodies, since the Babylonian believed that the course of events on earth reflected and was determined by the course of events in heaven. So Hooke's analysis shows the relationship between astrology and other forms of occultism that the Bible, of course, in the book of Deuteronomy, etc., warns us against. The fear that thought that there was some connection between the will of the demons and the will of the gods and the will of the heavens, that is, the astrological bodies. This was controlled by the activity of the priesthood. And those who have studied pagan religion in general know that this system of dependency that grows out of a supreme priesthood is universal. The shaman in Asian religion, for instance, took the role of the intercessor or mediator between the heavens and the earth. He goes on to refer to the work of Thorkild Jacobson. He says, it may be relevant here to quote a significant passage from Professor Thorkild Jacobson's discussion of the Mesopotamian idea of the cosmos as a state. But human society, Jacobson said, was to the Mesopotamian merely a part of the larger society of the universe. The Mesopotamian universe, because it did not consist of dead matter, because every stone, every tree, every conceivable thing in it was a being with a will and character of its own, was likewise founded on authority. Its members, too, willingly and automatically obeyed orders, which made them act as they should act. These orders we call the laws of nature. That's the end of Jacobson's quote. Hooke takes up the thought, in the last resort, it was the will of the gods which shaped the course of events, but the will of the gods was not immutable, and the gods did not always will the same thing. Hence, on the one hand, it was thought possible by prayers, penitence, and suitable offerings to change the will of the gods, and in this sense the future could be controlled. On the other hand, by observing the sequence of events, it was thought possible to establish a certain regularity in their connection, which would enable the future to be predicted. So the bottom line, as Hooke sees it, is that in the Babylonian and Assyrian systems, you could control the gods and the demons if you just knew the right things to do and the right incantations to say. This, of course, this information that would enable you to control your destiny was in the hands of the priesthood. They would give you the guidance you needed in order to make peace with both the demon world, the world of the spirits, and the world of the gods. So you can see in this analysis, Hooke's analysis of Babylonian and Assyrian religion, fear is dominant, dependency is total, and there's no concept at all of the biblical, the Old Testament as well as New Testament view of God's sovereignty. The ultimate sovereignty of God, well, there is, of course, no one God, so there's no one God with ultimate sovereignty. And the idea of his immutable will, a will that cannot be changed because he himself is unchangeable. He is the I am. A God who both foreknows and even foreordains and elects the saved. This is something new in the world of religion in the ancient world. This is why I believe it's so important to make the comparison with ancient religion and the religion of the Old Testament, because the cults, we're not just talking about the cults, there's a lot of this kind of thinking, a religion dominated by fear, beyond the cults and in Christianity as well. And of course in the general culture, the fascination with occultism, what is that but an attempt to control your destiny, to know knowledge that is only the possession of powers beyond you. In future segments we'll talk about the application of these thoughts to specifically the religion of the Watchtower.